Welcome to the Global Discussion. I'm Simon Hodgkins. More discussions today with creative leaders and thinkers, and I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by Pik Liu. Pik, you're very welcome to the podcast. Let's begin by asking you to introduce yourself to our international audience today. So over to you, Pik.
Thanks for having me today. Well, as you said, my full name is Pik Liu, but you guys can call me Pik. I'm the founder of Design Angel. I've been in design business for 20 years now. So what we are doing now is we are a branding agency for femtech or health and wellness company. And as women founders, especially women founders, only get 2% of VC funding. We focus on helping this early stage female founder to become investor ready. That's my short intro.
That's fantastic. And I think do you know what I love about your job title? You're the Chief Design Angel, which I absolutely love, Pik. So tell us a little bit about Design Angel. Tell us a little bit about the type of work that you do.
Yeah, well, Design Angel first because I love design, so it's always will be there. Angel because I find myself I love helping people, so that's why I come with Design Angel. What do we do is really do branding project mainly for startup. I love this because in branding you need to think about the strategy, how this brand in the marketplace, and then I connect this with design. So I love that I can make things beautiful and functional in the marketplace. So that's my passion, really.
Yeah, I love that. And you mentioned there that the amount of VC funding that goes to female tech is very small in the size of the total pool.
Yes.
When you're working with these startup companies or these femtech founders,
Yes.
you're really helping their brands to be taken seriously, to be on that international stage. Is there any sort of common challenges that these companies face that you particularly help with?
Common challenge is that they are not standing out enough. A lot of founders focus on building product. They think better product means better traction and they can get funding. Unfortunately, after talking to a lot of femtech founders the past couple of years, I realized it's important. It's a must-have, but it's not enough to get them funding. And I realized branding is really a place they can be, especially personal branding, because it is a fact that there's gender bias when a woman come out and go look for funding. Doesn't matter you're a female investor or male investor, they have gender bias towards women founder. And one thing to break down that barrier and build trust is really branding and personal branding. So that's what I believe. I just really want to help that, because when I see that number, it's just wrong. I feel wrong that why they are women doing good things. And actually I had an article, it talked about actually women found company or women managed company make more money, more profitable. So I just want to be a part of this and help them get what they deserve. Yeah.
I know you're a huge advocate and thank you for that answer, by the way, Pik, but I know you're a huge advocate and a huge promoter in the thinking that design really does have this power to lift a brand, right?
Yes.
That the design elements really help to, and you were talking about it there a little bit, instilling that confidence, bringing that awareness. So could you maybe go back and before you started the design company, how did you get into design? Maybe go back to some of the education, because I know, you were involved in London there. There was the fashion side of things, the design side of things. Could you maybe just give us a little bit of that journey before we carry on?
Yes, I didn't know that. And I had no idea what graphic design was until I was in high school. But looking back, I realized since I was a primary student, like in primary school student, second grade, I remember first grade, second grade, I would look at a textbook and then complain why the illustration doesn't match, why that layout is not good, it could be better. I just have that complaint all the time, like things don't look nice. And only until, but it never came to my mind, or I had no knowledge that this could be a career. I thought this is just art. It's just part of art. You love drawing. I love drawing. I like making things look nice. Until in high school, actually, my art teacher, she is kind of my mentor. She introduced me to graphic design and gave me opportunity to kind of realize that I have that talent, and it could become a career later in life. So she was the one kind of inspired me to go into graphic design. And I love it. Once I learned that it could be a career, I just jumped into it and love design, never want to go back. I will, doesn't matter, I become entrepreneur, whatever, I still want to call myself a designer. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And I know you're at the London College of Communication and the
Yes.
Fashion Institute of Technology. And so, I mean,
Yes.
a great sort of starting position for that career in design. But it is amazing when you share that story that, you know, you were doing it from an art perspective, which is great, but you didn't even have the concept of what is graphic design until,
Yeah.
you know, a teacher luckily sort of brought that into your field of vision. And from there, the passion grew. And now you have a business that deals with international clients in a very important sector, which is supporting women in technology,
Yeah.
and bringing those brands to life. So thank you for sharing that story, Pik. I really do appreciate that.
My pleasure.
The other thing that I wanted to ask you about is a little bit about your learning style, because the world of design, creativity, design, bringing these brands to life, a branding expert, you know, there's a constant learning, there's a constant changing. There are some principles, but the world is really, really fast now. The noise is really fast. And you were saying there, weren't you, that the common challenge is it's very hard for these companies to stand out. So how do you learn? How do you take on board what's happening in the world? How do you stay current so you can help these new fast-growing technology companies?
First, I read a lot. I read a lot of business books. And also, as a designer, I just love looking at beautiful things. I would go on Pinterest. I used to subscribe Design Magazine, but now I all online now. I look through things, pay attention to brands. What are they doing? It's really learning from experience, like looking at what other people is doing, what's out there, and absorb everything so that you can make it your own or apply it to my clients' projects. Yeah, really that. Absorbing anything. Really.
So as a designer, you're constantly scouring for that inspiration, that design,
Yes.
and seeing what other brands are doing. When it comes to reading, because you mentioned you read a lot,
Yes.
do you read for pleasure and business, bit of both? Do you like audiobooks? Do you read the written word? Are you scouring the internet? How does the learning style work for you?
I think I read mostly nonfiction books, so business related, productivity, that kind of book. For business, it's both, I think, because I love what I do. So business and pleasure is together, I think. And how I read, I used to love audiobook, but then I realized I didn't, I can read it fast and faster, but I didn't absorb it enough. So now I like to listen and read it at the same time. So I do both, actually. I find that that's the way I absorb information more, so I can make the best use of the book that I read. So that's how I do it now. Yeah.
Very good. And are you making notes in the book or highlighting sections, or do you just find that process of listening and reading at the same time helps you really absorb that information?
It depends on if the book that I really like, I find a lot of value, I want to learn from it. I actually make notes myself in note card like this. I write notes and then I index it into my index box so that when I need it, I quickly come back out and just find the stuff I want to look at. So I'm nerdy about this. Yeah.
Do you know, I love that though, because that's a real design process that you've got. So if something's really taking you and you really want to, like, you've got these sort of A5 cards almost that you're writing them on, you're putting it into your system, you're reading it, you're listening to it, you're absorbing it, you're reflecting on it, you've got a record of it. That's a real design process right there,
It
Pik.
is, yes, because as a designer, when I was student, now I still do digitally. Yeah, whenever I look at magazine, I read stuff, I find the inspiration, visual inspiration, I collect it. I just collect inspiration. It's the same for books. Yeah.
And does that come, do you think, from your fashion background, when you know, mood boards and creating themes and cutting things out of magazines and fabrics and different colors, and or is it just something that works for you now? Is that just the way that you work?
I don't know. It's possible. Now you tell me. I think it is because of that background. It was actually my art teacher, exactly the art teacher, who inspired me to be graphic designer. And that's what she said. You need to collect. You need to collect things that inspire you. And I guess I just keep doing it until now. Yeah, until today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that, Pik. Thanks for sharing that story with me.
Yeah.
Another thing I'd like to ask you is whether it's back to that art teacher, your early childhood, or whether it's something that happened a day ago. There must be people who you admire, who inspire you. That might be a female tech founder, a femtech company, or it might be somebody just in business, you know. Who do you admire? Who's inspired you along the way, Pik? What do you think about when I ask you that question?
There are a lot of people inspire me, but I guess who really turned my career or turned my thinking around, of course, first is my art teacher. Second one actually is Crystal. He run a creative kind of educational platform called The Future. I think that was another pivotal point for me. He taught the creatives how to run their business. And I felt like that is exactly what I have been lacking, running my own studio. So he gave me the courage and gave me the confidence that I could do more than just a graphic designer. So that will be my recent kind of hero. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think people in the design world or the creative space are familiar with Christo and all the great work that he does. He really does have a lot of great information out there, and a great community as well that he's built.
Yes, wonderful community. I am in his community. I cannot say, I can't stop saying the good things about it. It's lovely to meet creatives, just like me, willing to help. For the past 10 years, I've been running my studio. I was on my own, and I love to be on my own. I guess I'm an introvert. So I thought that is good enough until I met those people. I realized, wow, there's a group of people there to support me, think like me. So yes, the best things ever happened to me, I think I would say.
Yeah, and you've said some really interesting points there. Sometimes you do find that the creative personality trait can be quite introverted.
Yes.
And their expression comes out through their creativity.
Yes.
And also that you know, that Christo community, if you like, that was like a pivotal sort of step change as well, because it kind of gave you, I think you were saying, it gave you the confidence to really create and build your own studio.
Yes.
And I think that's so important, is it? Because it's a little bit to a smaller degree what we're doing here with the global discussion. You're finding people, like we're focused on creatives, you know, and obviously that's why we're talking to you. But when we talk about creatives, leaders, and thinkers, it's that sort of trait, isn't it? You're finding people that like the kind of things you like, and it helps to build on the confidence and the success collectively. And plus, you learn more, I think, don't you?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think I pivoted my business 2 years ago. And I will mainly attribute to that his community pushing me. And I have been writing content. I think that's how you also discover me too. And it was that group of people pushing each other to do things that I would never thought I would do. Even sitting here today in front of so many people talking about I've never thought I would be on podcast. I'll be doing public speaking. I'm even thinking about writing a book. This is something I never thought a graphic designer would do. I thought I just want to sit behind the computer, do design, and that's all. But it was that group that really pushed me to think beyond what I can do. And it's wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Pik. The other thing I want to ask you as well is, outside of people that you admire or that have inspired you, I want to talk about specific tangible advice, something that maybe has stuck with you that you still think is really important advice that you've learned along the way, or that somebody shared with you. Or is there some advice that you find yourself regularly sharing with others that you'd like to talk to us about today? So what about advice? What do you think about when I ask you that question?
Yeah, recently, not recently, about 2 years ago, a colleague, I was talking to her, and at the end, I was talking about like how overwhelmed I was, and I didn't take time for myself. I just always work, work, work. And she gave me that one thing I picked. You need to find something you love doing that is not related to work. And I knew it, self-care. I wrote about self-care. And I try and no, that's not for me. Until she kind of told me that. I took it too hard at that point, I guess. I took it into heart. I said, true, I never done anything that is not related to work or family. If I have free time, I will try to, okay, maybe I cook something, maybe I clean out the house, or I just do work. And I find it very hard. And she pushed me to like think about something, do something that is not related to family, that's not related to work. And it took me a long time, like 2 years ago. So finally, last year, the whole year, I've been practicing self-care. I took 1 hour in the morning. I got up early. That 1 hour, I will not check email. I will not go to social media. I will not do any work-related stuff, but just do things that I want. It took me a while to figure out what was it. It was so hard. It was very hard for me, but I figured it out. So in the morning, I usually wake up 5 a.m. I will do meditation or pray, and then 3 different things, about 15 minutes each. And then I will do exercise, and then I will read. Now I might start playing piano. I should pick up playing piano again. So this 3 things I do every day for the past year. And it has changed my life and my family's life, because actually my husband told me, "What, Pik, you're happy. I've never seen you that happy." And he said, when I am happy, everybody else in the house is happy. And I also felt I'm happier, I'm healthier, and I'm more into my work. Actually, I'm more efficient, and I am just more energized, more ideas when I come to work here at during the day. So it's something that I was like, why didn't I do it before? But that 1 hour is the most precious time of the day. And people think, I even thought it was selfish. It was just selfish to do self-care. Self-care means buying things for yourself, having a bath. I don't care for bath. Like, oh, what am I going to do? But I finally figured out these the 3 things that I make me feel happy and energized. So I would encourage everybody to try that. Yeah.
That's such an important point that you raise, Pik. And it is amazing how many of us struggle sometimes with, on one hand, you go, well, that's really simple advice. On the other hand, some people find it a real challenge, because I suppose with today's modern tools and technology, you could work around the clock. You know, you're working a little bit of time for home, back to work, sleep, back to work, back to work, back to work. And that, particularly when you're working on your own, as a lot of creative type of work is, because you're focused and you need to be inspired and you need to, you know, pour into that work, if I could use that phrase. You can, you know, your work day can be extended and it creeps into other aspects of your life. And it's interesting when you say that, you know, taking that hour in the morning and breaking that down into, well, I'll meditate or do some exercises, and it changes the rest of your life. And it reminds me, I had a conversation with Simon Alexander Ong recently, and he was talking about the concept of slowing down to speed up. And he unpacked that for me to say, look, this is what I mean. And ultimately, it's what you're saying. It's about putting time in for yourself, because ultimately it riches, fulfills, and benefits the other areas of your life. So thank you so much for sharing that with us, Pik. I think that's such valuable information.
And I will also say it's not just about work too. It's just better your personal relationship. I think relationship with your family, and I think relationship with myself. I feel so much better about myself now. And this is what we need in order to keep going, because we need to take care of our family, right? We have kids to take care of. We have ourselves. If we are not well, how can we take care of them? Yeah.
100%. Couldn't agree more, Pik. I suppose as we come to sort of the end of our time together here today, unfortunately, the other thing that I want to ask you is there anything else that you want to focus on or share or highlight to our audience while we're here together? And also to ask you, if people want to find out more about Design Angel, or maybe that book that you're going to write, or get involved in the wider communities, where are you sending people to? A website, a LinkedIn page? Where's the best place for people to connect with you?
So if anybody want to connect with me, I'm quite active on LinkedIn. So just use my full name, Pik Liu, and search it, and you should be able to find me and connect with me. DM me if you like. I love connecting with other creative. Especially now I realize I've been in business for 20 years. So a lot of younger creative come to me and ask for advice. I think that's one of the things I can give back, and I love doing it. So connect with me. One last thing is, I think for other creatives, if you are like me, that is introvert, like to do things alone, don't. I join a community, find a group of people that support you, believe in you, and you will do great things that you will never believe you could be doing. That would be my last advice, I think.
That's great advice. And can people still join the Femtech Angel email list? Is that still?
Oh, yes, you could, but it's those are more for really femtech founders. If they want to have some resources on branding or events happening, I think that would be beneficial for them. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you're a femtech founder, that's a must do. Yeah, for sure.
Yes. Yep.
Well, look, it's been an absolute pleasure to catch up with you again today. That brings us nicely, Pik, to the end of the episode today for the global discussion. So thank you to Pik, and thank you to everybody who's been watching or listening to us today. Make sure that you like, follow, subscribe to the podcast. I'd like you to do that. And I'd love for you to drop back and see us again soon, where we'll have more discussions with creatives, leaders, and thinkers. So thank you, Pik. It's been an absolute pleasure to catch up with you again today.
Thanks for having me. It was fun. Thank you, Simon.
Thank you, Pik.